Welcome to Microsoft Access. Now, up until now, we have learned how to organize our files in a computer. That was Windows package. It's where we started. We learned how to do some computer settings. We learned how to organize our files and create folders within a computer. And then we covered the second package, which was Microsoft Word. We learned how to create documents, how to format. We learned how to come up with tables. We learned how to work with the clay parts, different types of objects. And then we dived into Excel, one of the packages that help you to manipulate numerical data. And we did a good job on that. We learned how to feed our data. We learned how to analyze, perform calculations, how to come up with charts to graphically represent that data. Now, today I want to welcome you into a totally new package, and it's called Microsoft Access. Before we dive into this package, I want to explain to you what this package does. I want to think about in any given organization or in any given institution, they are going to have what we call data. And they are going to need to have this data stored in a very organized way. For instance, if you're talking about in a company, we have data about employees. Okay, we have data about the customers. We have data about the products or the items they have. Or take an institution. Institution can have data about, and I'm talking about an education institution. They can have data about their students. They have data about the working staff. They have data about the assets that they have. Now, another example, think about when you go to a hospital. A hospital need a place whereby they can keep data about their patients. And by data, I mean all the information related to a patient. Okay, the patient names, the patient IDs, where the patient come from, if the patient in a certain ward they are admitted, which ward they are admitted in. So they're going to need to have data about their patients. They're going to need to have data about the working staff, the doctors. They're going to have data about the mentoring. They're going to need to have data about everything that they have within that organization. Now, they are going to need a program that help you organize that data and keep it in one central point. And Microsoft Access is one of those programs. I want to give you another example on a national scale. Think about the government. The government would need to have data, and a lot of data actually, concerning its citizens, like your name, where you come from, a lot of information about you. And so they are going to need to have what you call a database, whereby they can keep all the information about the citizens, such that when they open that database, they can see all the information they need concerning its citizens. And so they are going to need, or every organization and every company and every institution, they need what we call a database. And a database is a program that keeps data or information about that specific institution or that specific government organization. And so while there are different types of database, we are going to focus on Microsoft Access. But before we dive in, I want to give you other examples of database programs. We have Paradox. It's another example of a database program. We have FoxPro. It's another example of a database program. We have Oracle. It's another example of a database program. We have DBase 124. It's another example of a database program. So database programs are many. Microsoft Access happens to be just one of them. And so It doesn't really mean that every other institution uses Microsoft Access. No, you can use any of those other database program. But the point is, all organizations are going to have a database program, and that is where they keep their data. So this program enables you to store your data in one central point, such that when you open that given file, you know you're going to get the information that you're looking for. Everything is well arranged, well organized, and it's available for you. That's what database program does. And so today I'm going to introduce you to Microsoft Access, one of the database programs, and we are going to be storing data, we're going to be reorganizing our data, and we're going to learn how MS Access works. What you will find is this: while there's not a lot of typing, or we don't deal with a lot of volumes of textual data, we basically have data that is organized in a very good way. We're not going to be doing calculations, or we're not going to be dealing with a lot of typing textual data. No, we're just going to learn how to organize our data in a very good way, so that if you go to any company, or if you go and work in any organization, you can help them create a database where they can store all the information about different different data concerning that organization, whether those are employees, or whether those are customers, or whether those are the assets that they have, whatever data might be. You will learn how to organize your data in using MS Access in one central point where it's easily accessible. So let's dive in now. So we come here at start with the button, we click there, and we want to access Microsoft Office, because inside Microsoft Office, that is where you can get Microsoft Access. Of course, you can click here and type Microsoft Access, but let's use that other method. So you don't see Microsoft Office here, so you click all apps or all applications, and all applications will show up here. If you don't see Microsoft Access, then of course you use this scroll bar, you try to scroll down. We are looking for a folder called Microsoft Office. These programs are arranged in alphabetical order, so you're looking for M, and here we are. You can see Microsoft Office. Click Microsoft Office, and then you now scroll to look for Microsoft Access. Here it is, Microsoft Access. So click Microsoft Access, and you give it time to load. Great, here we are. Now what you will notice is Access is totally different, completely different actually, from anything else that we have learned. When you open the program, this is what you see. You can see we have blank database. We have, when this one comes up, you can just close it. You see we have blank database, we have blank web database, recent templates, and all that. Our focus is we learn how to create a database from scratch. Okay, what that means is you create database right from the beginning. So at this point, you make sure you select blank database. Once you select blank database, you're going to see the database name here, and we want, at this point, we want to give our database a name. Let's say we are creating a database for a certain technical institution or training institution, and so this database is going to have information maybe about students and the staff. Okay, so what you need to do right now, we're going to give the database a name, and let's give it a name of an institution. So let's call our database, let's say our institution is called ERICAD. Let's say we have a database for ERICAD training center, or let's call our institution Kenya Medical KMTC training, KMTC. Okay, let's call it Kenya Medical Training College. Great. And then you click create. So once you click create, it will now create that database. This is the name of your database, Kenya Medical Training College. Now when you open a new database, you're going to see this, okay? And if you look at it carefully, this section from here, or moving along here, it looks like Excel. It has what we call, let me click and show you for you. Let me see whether this one will work. Great, this one will not work, but it looks like a maths exercise book. It has what we call cells, like you saw in Excel. Now, it has what is called, it's calling this one table, and we don't need this one. It's called table 1. We don't need it. So we're going to click here to close it, and this one will disappear. So let's close the table. Gone. The table disappears. And now we are in our new database. You notice there's nothing in this database. So you are going to have to build everything from scratch. Now here's the thing. A database has what we call database objects. And it's in this object whereby we keep data, and we use this object to perform different functions within the database. The first object of a database is what we call a table, and that is what it is. It's actually just a table. Now this table is the mother of a database. It's in this table whereby we keep our data. But the only difference between this table and any other table that you've created is that this table is more powerful and can help you define different aspects of the data that you want to keep, and we're going to learn how to do that. But it's basically a table. It's a table whereby you can store student names, admission number, the hostel they are staying in, if they are staying in a hostel, the course they are taking, the fees they are paying, all that kind of stuff. It helps you feed all that information. So the first object is what we call tables, and you're going to learn how to create tables now. The second object is what we call forms. Now forms have a number of functions. Number one, a form will enable you to view data that is in a table one at a time. Remember, with a table you see everything, you see all the data at once, but a form helps you to view data in a table one at a time. That is one of the functions of a form. The second function of a form, it helps you to edit data in a table. I'm going to show you how to do that. The third function of a table, it helps you to add data in a table. So you want to add data in a table, you don't necessarily need to open that table. You can create a form, use that form to add data in a table, and then it will help you to edit data in a table. You want to edit data or you want to delete data with a form, you can delete data in a table. So it helps you add data in a table, it helps you view data in a table, it helps you edit data in a table, and it helps you delete data in a table. Okay, so it has those 5 functions: add data in a table, view data in a table, delete data in a table, edit data in a table. 4 functions, and that is what form does. Now we have another object, and we call it reports, and this object helps you to create a report out of your database. For instance, let's say you have a database of students and you want to pull out a report of those students that have paid fee to a certain amount. You want that report from your database. The report help you to be able to view that, specifically the key information that you want out of your database, not everything, the key information that you want. And then we have another object. We've looked at table, form report, we have another very, very important object, and it's called we call it queries. Okay, now queries are basically questionnaires, or they are like questions that you can pose into a database to ask for a specific information, or to tell the database to perform specific job, or to select specific information. And you're going to learn how to handle queries. And then there are a few more objects, but at this level, those are the major ones that you need to learn and understand how to work with them. Once you get those ones, then you can create any database of your choice, and you can use it to do anything that you want to do. Great. With that understanding, let's dive in, and let's start with how do I create a table. That's where we are going to start with. So how do I create a table? Creating a table, it's easy, but you need to pay close attention. It might look slightly different from what you're used to. We did a table in Word, but at this point in this package, the process of creating a table is slightly different. So pay close attention. Here's what you do. You go to create menu. Remember, we have home menu, create menu, external data, and then database tools. So you go to create menu and you click create, and then you see we have all this. We have, you can see forms, you can see queries, and then you have table design. You come to table design, then you click table design. And when you click table design, this is what comes up, and this is where you design your table. The word here is design, meaning you don't just create it. It has a very specific way in which it has to be designed. Now, here we have what we call fields. Now, what we have field name, we have data type, and we have description. Now, in this field, or in this column called field, this is where you enter the fields of your table. And what are fields? They are like the headings. Okay, maybe something like student name, admission number, those labels that allow you now to have the headings of your table, and you can now feed the data. Let's do it practically so you see how this one works. So let's create a database for our student, and what we're going to have here is we design a table that allows us to hold student data. So the first field in our table is going to be student name. So you type student name, you click down here. You don't enter the fields across, you enter them downward, but later on they'll be converted. It's going to look totally different. So we have student name, and we have admission, we have admission number. Now there are certain characters that are not allowed in a table, like when you put a period like that. Access may not accept that. So there are certain characters that are not acceptable in access. So make sure you don't put a period, just leave it the way it is. You can even type it in full if you want. Student number, it doesn't hurt, or rather admission number, doesn't hurt, but let's have it in short. Right, so we have student name, admission number, and then we can have course, that's the course they are doing, and then we can have fees, that's the fees they are paying, and then we can have I think that is it. We can add more information about this student. We want to have more information, that is contact. Okay, we need to know their contact. We also need to know where they come from, so we're going to have something like origin. You want to know where your students are coming from. It's good information. It helps when you're doing marketing. You'll be able to see the regions within your country where you get most of your students. So with student name, admission number, contact. You can also have gender. It's very key. so that you are able to know the number of the proportions in terms of gender of your student. And then we can now have course, and then we can have fees, and then we can have, I think that's all that we need to have. Remember, you can add more information as you desire. Write a new table. It all depends on what you want to see. You can add things like course level meaning, are they doing a diploma course, are they doing a degree course, are they doing a higher diploma course, are they doing certificate course. You can add as much information as you want to have in your table. So in this case, we are going to deal with this. We're not going to add a lot of information, but for your practice, I want you to add a lot of information. So you're going to have this one. Let's just have level, and then here we can have fees. And if you want, you can have semester. Which semester is this? You can add as much information as you want, but for now, let's work with that. So once you enter your fields here, the next thing you want to specify is data type. I'll pay close attention. I want to explain what data type is. So you cross over under data type, you click here. There's like a small button here. You click that button, and these are the data types that we have. Now let me take you through what data types are and define each and every one of them. Basically, a data type is the type of data that you're going to enter in that field. For instance, think about a name of a place and the phone number of someone. The name of a place is just text, something that they are text, the alphabetical characters. But the phone number is not text, it's number. So these two types of data are different. One is number and the other one is text. Okay, so when you say data type, is the type of data that you're going to enter in that field. And so Access wants to know, under student name, what kind of data are you going to be entering there? Under admission number, what kind of data are you going to be entering there? And origin, and gender, course, level, all that. Access wants to know what kind of data are you going to be entering there. Now, so let's specify this. Student name, basically we are going to enter the name of a student, and what we need to have there for database text. Text refers to a very short text, okay, like the name of a place, the name of a student, the name of a person, that is text. So we pick text, and then we go to admission number. Admission number, of course, like you can tell, we are going to enter numerical numbers, and so the appropriate data type is number. But I want you to understand this. If in your admission number you combine both text and numbers, for instance, let's say the admission number starts with 2000, and you combine the first letter of the student name and then the 2000. For instance, the student is called John. Let's say the admission number should normally be J2000. If the student is called Mary, it's M2000. It's a combination of numerical numbers and alphabetical alphabets. So if that is the case, then you pick text. Okay, so a combination of both numerical and alphabetical characters, we call it text. So you're going to have to pick text. But if it's purely numerical number, then you pick number. And then you have contact. Of course, contact, this is a phone number, and so we are going to pick number. And then we have origin, of course, where they come from. It's a name of a place, so we're going to have text. And then you have gender, Now the gender, there are two ways you can go about it. Gender, it can be either male or female, and so you can pick text. But you can also pick what you call yes or no. Yes or no is a data type for when you have only two states, either this or that. And gender can only be either a male or female. So you can pick yes stroke no, or you can just pick text, and then you're going to be typing male or female. If you pick yes and no, or yes stroke no, what Access does is it gives you some boxes in that column. If you tick a box, that could mean that was a male student. If you leave it unticked, that could mean that was a female student. But you're the one that decide, does ticking mean a male or does it mean a female? You decide for yourself. So in this case, let's just pick the yes and no, so you can see how that one will work. And then the course, of course, the name of the course they are taking, that's going to be text. And then you have level, it's a diploma, higher diploma. So good to pick text again. And then fees. Now fees can be number, but it's actually not number because you're dealing with money. So all monetary values is supposed to be currency, okay, because you're dealing with money. So fees is going to be currency. Now I want to explain a few more here. Let's put something there like what are we going to put there? Let me see. Let me explain what a memo is. If you have a field where you are going to put text, but this text runs several lines, like a place whereby you have a field saying remarks. A remarks in that field, you want to indicate something like this student was fully admitted. So that's a line, it's a statement, it's not a short text. So if you're going to enter a line or several lines, then you pick the data type as memo. And then we have auto number. Now with the auto number, it's where you want the data to be automatically numbered. And auto number starts with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now in this case, you don't enter the numbers. No. Access will automatically enter the numbers for you as you keep on increasing the data in your table. When you add another data, it will say number 2. You add another data to give it number 3. So it will incrementally number them. The difference between auto number and number is, for number, you can start from any number. You can start from 2000 or 3000 or 1900. But with the auto number, it has to start with 1, then go to 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the difference between the two. And Access does it automatically. And then we have hyperlink. If we were feeding information and we had a field like website address, whereby, or something like email address, whereby we want to enter the email of the student, the email is a link or the website address is a link. And so in that case, you pick hyperlink. And then we have attachment. If you had a place whereby you're required to enter the photo of the student, then you can indicate or you can insert the photo. There you specify the data type as attachment, because you're going to attach a photo to that field. Now, calculated, we use calculated if that field you want to be performing calculations automatically, and specifically once you create such a field, you're supposed to enter the formula and it will be using to automatically perform the required calculation. And so at this level, we don't need to go to that. Normally they are used for very complex database. Okay, and you're not going to be creating complex database at this level. That is not what you need. All right, so now with that in mind, let's see what can we improve here. I see we are good to go with this. Now I want to add something that probably we might need, just to show you how these data types works. Let's say after contact we want let's say we want to have email address of this student, And so I want to put email address in between contact and origin. That means I'm going to have to create a new row here. That's a row and that's another row. I want to create a new row between contact and origin. So how do you do that? It's very simple. You come to contact and then you right click using the right mouse button, press it once and you get all this, and then you have insert a row. I want insert a row, so I click insert a row and the row is inserted, but you notice that the row is inserted above and I wanted it in between contact and origin. That meant I was supposed to actually right click origin. So let's do it. I right click origin, then I say insert a row, and the row is inserted above origin. Then I can type there email address, then I can delete this row. How do you delete a row? You right click the row, then just click delete rows. It's gone. So there we are. Now for email address, we are going to give it hyperlink because it's an email. And then let's do one more. Let's create one that gives us an attachment. Let's assume we want to see, one that you're going to require to see the photo of the student. So you're going to add one more. We're going to add one more field. That field is going to be called passport. You want to see the student passport. And let's see, where do we create that? We can create it immediately, actually here, before we get to see the best place to have passport, or we can make the passport the last one. Okay, we can make it the last one. Let's click here and let's say passport, and then after passport we're going to have admission date. This is the date when this student was admitted, so admission date. So for passport we're going to have attachment. I pointed out that if you want to, actually we're going to have OLE object, not attachment, OLE object. We use OLE object if you want to attach something or if you want to show an object in that field. So you pick OLE object, and then admission date, we want the date this student was admitted. So of course you click there and you go to pick date and time. Date and time, there you are. So those are the fields that you're going to have. Remember, you can have as many fields as you want. Now you know how to specify the data type and how to specify the fields. Now allow me to move this window away from here. We learned how to drag and move a window. So you come right on top here, you click and hold down the left mouse button, then you can move it away. So let's position it somewhere there. Great, let's scroll up. Here we are. Now let's finish up on this table. So now that you've designed our table, we want to close the table. So click close. Now when you click close, Access will require you to save the table. Do you want to save the changes to design, to the design of the table? Of course you say yes, you want to save those changes, so you click yes, and then it will require you to give the table a name. So since this table holds student information, you want to give it a name that easily helps you remember what's there. So let's call this one students. There you go, and then you click OK. And then it's good to tell you that there's no primary key. Now, what is a primary key? A primary key is a special key that is entered in a field that is unique, a field that you can use to access or search for or look for that specific record. For instance, if you have students, what identifies and differentiates your student? How do you know your students? You know them by their admission number, because each student's admission number is unique. You can't have two students with the same admission number. And so you can go to the field where we have admission number and you place a key there. Let me cancel this one and let me show you how you do it. The only thing that's unique and identifies these records here is where we have admission number. Remember, you can have two students with the same name, so their names are not unique. Their email and contact may be unique, but the problem is students can change their contact anytime without your knowledge or without the organization or the institution being aware. So you cannot rely on contact to identify students. And you cannot rely on email. They can change email anytime. You can have students coming from the same place. So origin is not unique to students. And of course, we know gender is not unique. You are going to have male and female students. Then again, course is not unique. You can have several students doing the same course. There's nothing unique about course. And then you have level. You can have several students doing a certificate course or several students doing a diploma course or higher diploma course. So nothing is unique about level and nothing is unique about fees. You have students taking the same course, then of course their fee is the same. Passport is unique, but really this is an image, so you cannot rely on that. And admission date, you can have student reporting and being admitted on the same day, so nothing unique about that. So the only thing that's unique here for each student is admission number, and that is where you put your primary key. Now, how do you put a primary key? It's simple. You click the field where you want to put a primary key, then you click database tools. Okay, let's see, you click design. Yeah, you click design, not database tools. You click design, and then this is the key. If you click that key, the key will be entered here. Now here's what happens. The moment you enter a primary key, first of all, it means it protects your data from duplication. You cannot enter two students with the same admission number. If you make that error when you enter in your data and you put a primary key on admission number, Access will tell you you cannot have two students with two similar admission numbers. So it will notify you. Then you'll be able to correct that. That is number one. Number two, if you put a primary key on admission number, Access will not accept a record of a student before you provide or without admission number. If you enter all other data and you leave admission number, Access will not store that data. It will actually tell you that you have something missing, and that is admission number. By putting a primary key there, we demand that always that key should contain the data required, and that is the admission number of the student. So this way, it will help you eliminate student having same admission numbers, because it happens at an institution because they don't have a strong, well designed database that can help you realize that they have given several students same admission number. So it helps you eliminate that mistake or error. And number two, you will not be able to enter student in your database until they have admission number, and that means you're not going to have students who have not been assigned admission number in your institution. It will help you guard against such errors. So that's why primary key is very important. Now, what you're going to be doing for now, we are going to say that we do not need that primary key. We are going to proceed, but probably later on, after we've entered all the data, we'll come back here and enter the primary key. Remember, you don't have to enter the primary key when you're designing you don't have to assign the primary key when you're designing the table. You can design the table, enter data, and later on come back to this design window, and then you set a primary key. So for now, we will not set a primary key. We are going to do away with it and then proceed. So how do remove the primary key now that we had already set it? It's simple. Select it and then go to design and then click primary key to deactivate it, and it's gone. Great. So now let's close this. Say yes, you want to save the design changes. Let's call it students. Sorry, this is students. Call the table student because it has student information. This was staff information, we can call it staff. You click OK. It's gonna demand again the primary key, but let's say that we don't want the primary key. So you have a question here, do you want to create a primary key? Now you say no, and there you go. Now here is your table. If you open this table, it will look like any other table and you'll be ready to enter data. How do you open it? Two ways. You can double click it, it will open, or you can click, drag and drop it here. Either way works. Let's double click it. Here we are. Now you can now see you have your normal table, and what you entered like fields, they are now the headings of your table. So you can enter student name, admission number, contact, email, origin, gender, course, level, fees, passport, and date. Let's enter a few students very fast. So let's have John. Let's have John Muluka, and admission number is 2000, and contact, we just make up a contact, and then we have, let's see, value you entered isn't valid for this field. Okay, I'm not sure how this one, what did we set contact for? Did we set contact as text? Okay, we seem to have, I don't know what the problem was, but let's continue. So this is John. This is John at Mall. Sorry, John Mall at gmail.com. Notice it has gmail.com. Notice hyperlink, we set email address as hyperlink, and hyperlink as a very unique color, normally blue, meaning when you click the hyperlink, it is a link to another location, and that's why you notice it, you point at it and you have this text that comes there saying mail to, because Access is able to identify that it's probably an email address, and anytime you want to reach out to that person, you can email them. So that's why you have that mail to. Let's go to origin. This student comes from Kajiado. Let's keep consistency. So we get to have our data in capital. Now gender, you can decide whether it's male or female, and then if it's a female, you can decide if it's a female, I'm going to tick this box. If it's a male, I'm going to leave it unticked. Now let's say if it's a male, we are going to tick it. If it's a female, we leave it unticked. And then course, what course is this student doing? This student is doing nursing. And then level, this student is doing certificate level. And then fees, let's say fees is 50,000. And passport, we're going to have the passport of the student here. Now what you notice is when you enter fees, since currency, we have the dollar sign entered there, okay, indicating that's a currency. Passport, we can attach the passport, but for now let's just leave it. we might need to go back to the data type and actually change that. I think we should have assigned the data type attachment because we want to attach the photo of that student. But don't worry, we'll go back and correct that. So the student date and time, we want to know when was the student admitted. You can always click this calendar and you pick a date from this calendar. Okay, this calendar runs to the current date. Today is that 1st August 2022, and you can see that 1st August 2022 here. So let's say this student was admitted today. I just need to click that date and it will enter the date there. Let's enter another student, and this is Jane Motiso, and this admission number 2001. And let's enter phone number here, and let's enter the email. The email is Jane at Tiso, sorry, Jane T at Gmail. Now, something here, you might be wondering, how are you getting this at? It's still in your keyboard. Let me pull out my keyboard here and show you where you get at. Pull up my keyboard here, and let's give it time. Where do you get at? Now let me see whether we have at in our keyboard. If it's not here, I'll just guide you where to get at. Okay, at is here. So how do you get at? Remember, it is the upper character on a keyboard key that has 2 characters. We learned how to get upper character. You have to activate Shift, hold it down, and then you press that key. So I'm going to click there where I want at. I'll press and hold down Shift, then I'll click there, and then I'll get at. That is how you come up with at. Great, let's continue. Let me pull this one down, and that is at yahoo.com. And then Jane comes from Kisumu, and then she's a lady, so we're going to leave that one unticked. And then she is taking would you write the word pharmacy? I'm not sure that that's how you write it, but let's assume that's how you write it. And then she's taking diploma level. I'm not sure that is diploma level for pharmacy, but let's assume that is true. Okay, that's the fee, and then passport and the date. She was also admitted. She was admitted yesterday. I'm gonna enter yesterday. Actually, let's change for this one. So this one was admitted first. This should be today. Yeah, and this one yesterday is okay. Let's add one more. I'll leave you to add the rest, but let's add one more. And actually, let's close it. Once you enter all the details that you want, you close. And now if you double click, you're going to find all your data. The reason why we've closed at this point is we want to go back to the design and correct where we have passport here and set the right data type. So we close it. How do you go back to table design where you designed your table? It's very easy. All you need to do is right click using the right mouse button, right click the table, and then click design view, and it will get you back to where we designed it. We focus on passport. Let's pick attachment. Attachment enables you to attach something like an image. Click attachment. You cannot set passport to attachment data type. Use add field in the modify field ribbon to add a field with attachment data type. Okay, let's see what the problem here. See what might be the problem. You can now set passport to attachment data type. Use add field in the modify field ribbon to add field with attachment data type. I think with Ole object we are correct. It's supposed to be Ole object. Let's see what let's close this one. No, we don't want to make any changes. Let's open it and let's see. Ole object is empty, you can't edit. Okay, I'm going to click here. Actually, let's just do away with this field and we find a way of adding it. So I'm going to right click, I open it again in the design view, and then I'm going to delete the field. Let's delete the field. You select the field, you right click, and then you delete the field for now. You will delete for now, we'll work on it later. Then let's close this one. It will ask whether you want to retain the changes. Of course, yes, we just deleted a field. Let's retain those changes. Let's open our table again. Here it is. And the reason we did that is for certain fields you can add them directly from here. Let's say we want to add that field. Let's try to add it from here and not in the design, where you can go to, let's see, field. We want to see whether we can add the field from here, and let's go to more field and let's pick attachment. Okay, something didn't work out the way we expected. It's been added in the wrong place. We did want this one added here, so right click, want to see whether I can delete the field. Let's delete that field. Say yes, we wanted the field to be added next here, so we're going to select this. Actually, we want the passport, and we want the passport to be added. Where are we going to have the passport? Where are we going to? Let's have it as the last field. So to make sure it's placed at the last field, you select this last one, and then you go to fields, and you can add that field from here. You go to more field, you click there, and here you can specify the field. We want the field that has an attachment that allows us to attach something there. So we click attachment, and there it is. So you have the field there. The challenge that we have is this field doesn't have a name. Let's try to close it. Let's open it in the design. Let's see whether we can specify the name of the field. Okay, here it is. So let's specify the name. It's supposed to be called passport, so we call it passport, and then we go back by closing here, and then you say yes to save the changes. Then let's open it and see what we have. All right, still doesn't bear the name, and that presents a challenge. Let's see, we select this field. Let's see that we can do it again. Go to fields, and let's choose name and caption. Okay, we want this one, so we select it. Let's go to field. We want to be able to actually specify here passport rather than just have this attachment icon here. So we select it, we go to fields, and then we click name and caption. We want to see whether we can give it a new name, and the new name is there. It's only that it is not being shown in our field. What if we so-call this one passport? Let's see. Okay, there you go. Now you can see it's now indicated passport. Now we need to attach the students' passports here, so I'm going to need to have some images in my system. I'm not sure that I have images, and I actually might not have images of people. but we can use any image just for you to understand how this one works. So you click there, you click twice and this window will open. Just click twice very fast. This window will open and it will require you to add the attachment. So I click add. It will open my computer locations and I can pick images or the attachment or the photo where it is. I might not have some photos in the computer, but let's see on pictures what we have. We can pick any picture and assume that is an attachment for the purposes of learning. Let's see what we have there. We don't have anything there. Let's see what we have. You just pick this image. Let's assume that's an image of a student. Then you click open. The image is entered and then you just click OK. You will not see the image. You only see it when you create a form for this one. So you double click here to enter another one. Double click twice. This one opens up. You click add and you come and you pick another image like this one and you click OK. I'm just wondering whether I have real images here. I don't think so. We had real human photos that could have, let's see, on the desktop. We actually do not have any. On debug, we don't have any. So downloads, okay, allow me to use just the image that we have because I don't have images in this computer. If I had one, see document, we could have used those. We scroll to see whether I have any. Just okay, I don't seem to have any images, so allow me to just use the image that are available on pictures. So just pick another one and then you click this one and then you click open. I think this is the one that we put previously, so let me pick this. Then I click open. There it is. I click OK, and then let's go to one more student. I'll leave you to add others, and you're good to have Laura, Jerry, and this is a mission number and phone number is what just happened. This is 2000 and we have contact, and then let's have email. Email is laura@gmail.com. Then Laura comes from Machakos. We want to be consistent, so we keep it caps. Laura comes from Machakos. And then just female, and Laura is doing clinical officer. Resident clinical officer, and this is at diploma level, and fee is 100,000 or 110,000, 100,000, and then we have she was admitted on 29th. Okay, double click there. you can click add, and let's add an image, and then you click OK, rather open, and then you click OK. There you go. So that is how you enter your data. Let's make this one's 5. Let's add one more. Then we're going to have Peter. Sorry, Peterson Sakaja. Peterson Sakaja. And then Peterson Sakaja is admission number is 203. Phone number is 07. And then we have, this is pet@yahoo.com. And Peter Sakaja comes from Goma. He's a giant, and Peter is taking pharmacy also. And then this is at certificate level. At certificate level. And the fee is, this fee was meant to be 75,000. So this fee is also, this is 60,000. Date, he was admitted on 28th. Double click there, click add. Since we don't have any more images here, let's just use this. Then you click open and you click OK. There you are. So we failed. Let's do one more student, then we'll be done with creating table. So we have, this time around we're going to have who? Moses. Moses Michael. Moses Michael. Admission number is 4. Phone number is then you're going to have Michael at Gmail, sorry, at gmail.com. That is admission, sorry, it's email. Michael comes from Nakuru. Let's be consistent, so let's keep this one caps. So male, and Michael is doing clinical officer. And he's doing diploma level. And fee is the same, 100. And he was admitted on the same date of 28. Let's do an attachment. You double click there, we click add, and you pick an image from your computer, you click open, and then you click OK. So there you go. That is how you enter your designer table, and that is how you enter your fields. Now, what is important to notice at this point is this: if you're going to have to do an attachment, if you're going to have a field that requires an attachment, we've noticed that you cannot design. Let's close this. You cannot add, let me open this one in the design view. right click, design view. If you're going to have a field that requires attachment, you cannot enter it when you're designing here because Access will reject it. So how do you add a field that requires attachment? Just design your table. Once you finish up, close, open the table, and then you can come and add that field on the table view. You basically come and click the last field, assuming you want that field to be placed here. Okay, if you want the field to be placed like in between admission and contact, you can select this field here called admission, move your mouse pointer over it, turns to a thick arrow pointing downward, you click it, you select it, then go to the fields menu, click fields, and then go to more fields, click more fields, and then pick attachment. Once you pick attachment, a field will be added here, but this field will not have a name or a caption here, and you want that caption to be there, otherwise it will look weird and funny. Now, how do you enter that caption there? It's simple. Select the field, go to fields, and then click name and caption. Click name and caption. You will get this. Change the name. If we want to have photo, you just enter photo there, and then you click add caption. You also type photo, right, and then you click OK, and you're going to have a new field now with the photo, and then you can add your attachment by just double clicking and to add the attachment that you want. I wanted to repeat that so you get the process how you add a field that has an attachment. You cannot add it in the designing of the table, but you can add it later once you design the table. So let's delete this one. We don't need it. How do you delete it? You select it, you go to fields, and you click delete, and you say yes, you want to delete it, and it's gone. So here we are, we've created our table, and that is how you design your table. So let's close this table, and let's do one more table. And then the reason we are doing one more table because this is the basis of everything. If you don't know how to create table in database or MS Access, the rest of the objects you will not be able to learn how to do them, since the table is the mother of your database. It's everything. So I want us to do one more table. Now, to add another table, we don't need to create another database. I want you to differentiate. We have only one database here, but this database can have as many tables as we want, depending on the different set of data we want to keep in those tables. So if I want another table, I don't need to close this database and open another one. No, I'll add this other table in this database. We have only one database for the entire college called Kenya Medical Training College. Everything else that we want to keep in with regard to the data for this college will be kept in this one database. So don't open several databases for one institution. No, you open one and you create as many tables as you want to hold all the information that you want concerning your institution or your organization. So now we want a database that holds the staff, the teaching staff. We have one that holds student. We want one that holds the teaching staff. So let's create it. Like I said, you go to create menu, and then you go to table design, and this is where we design it. So let's have like staff. To start with staff number, and then we're going to have staff name, and then we're going to have contact of the staff, and then we're going to have department. Where can you find that staff? Which department are they handling? What else do we need to know? We need to know staff ID actually for contact. Let's add a field in between staff name and contact where we can have staff ID. It's very important. So I'm going to click there. You click there, you right click, and then you click insert raw, and up here we're going to have staff ID. So we're going to have staff ID. You want to make sure that your data is well arranged. Staff ID, I think contact is okay. We might need to have the email of the staff, so I'm going to need to have I need to have filled in between contact and department before we go to department. So I'm going to right click on the department, then I'm going to insert a row, and we're going to have staff email in case you want to communicate to the staff. Department is okay. We can have something like position if you want to know the position of that staff. So let's see, department, and then we have position. If you want any more information with regard to the staff, you can add as much information as you want. So now staff name, let's pick data type as number, sorry, staff number. Then staff name, of course, it's text. Staff ID, it's going to be number. Contact, it's going to be number. Now, what if you have something like physical address, whereby you want to enter GP or the general post office number? In such a case, that is normally a combination of numerical characters and alphabetical characters, because you have to type PO box and then you enter the number. So in such a case, you just use text. Okay, go for text data type. It will allow a combination of both alphabetical characters and numerical numbers. Staff email, we are going to make this one an attachment, and then department, the department in which they are serving, and then position, what position they hold, and this is going to be text. Great. Something is not correct. Yeah, staff, this is staff mail, it should be hyperlink. Great. So that is it. Now let's assume that we want our staff to be numbered. Of course, you want to know the number of staff that you have, and you don't want to keep on counting them. And so we are going to have to set a serial number that will basically number every new staff added to our database. That means we are going to come to staff number. Staff number is the number that identifies that staff. Okay, ID number is their personal ID number. But now we want them to be numbered so that we know the number of staff that we have. So we're going to have to add a new field. So come to staff number, right click, and then click insert a row. Great. So we want to add another row here, or another field here, that will track or will count for us automatically the number of staff that we have. And so we can just call it serial. Actually say this is serial number. Now, like I said, there are certain characters that are not allowed by database, and one of it could be this stroke. So we're going to have it, we have a underscore there. And how do you get underscore? Let me pull up my keyboard. This is what we are calling underscore. So if I want an underscore, I position my mouse pointer where I want it, and to get an underscore, if I click there, you get a hyphen. We don't want hyphen, we want underscore. Hyphen may not be acceptable in a database, so let's remove the hyphen. We want underscore. To get the underscore, you have to press and hold down shift, then you click here to get this underscore. There you go. We wanted that underscore. Let's pull it away. So there you are. Now this underscore should be auto number so that it will automatically count the number of employees that you have. So you click here, data type, you pick auto number, and that's it. Now at this point we might want to identify our staff, and we identify our staff based on their numbers. Each staff has a unique number that we give them once they are employed, and so since it's unique, let's now apply primary key, which we didn't apply with the student. Let's now apply primary key here. You cannot have several staffs with the same staff number. Okay, so let's apply primary key here so you see how this one works. I click staff number, I go to design, then I click primary key, and that is it. And then now we are good to go. I think we can close this. Then you click yes to save the changes, and then you're gonna have to give it that table a name. Remember, give a table a name that tells you the information that's there. So we call this one staff. Once you see staff, we know that is all the data we need about our staff. Click OK, and you're good to go. So it's right there. So double click it, and here it is. We're going to need now to enter information. Notice for serial number you don't enter anything. Access will automatically give any new staff that you add or any new record that you add a number. So we just start with the staff number. So let's say this employee is staff number . By the way, let me close this one and show you something. I close it. Let's open it in the design and click design view. Now let's assume that this staff number, we don't want to just enter numbers. We want to combine the first initials of this staff plus the number. So like if the student is called, if our staff is called maybe Joseph, we want to have J 2000 if their number is 2000, or J 3 or 10 if their number is 3 or 10. So we want to combine the initial of the first name plus the number. In such a case, you cannot use number since the initials are alphabetical characters. So you click here, then you pick text. Okay, and then you close. Save the changes, and then let's open it. Let's do it. So we go to this staff, and this gentleman is called she's a lady, she's called Grace. So the staff name is going to be G and then G 6300. Okay, and she's called Grace Molly. ID number is, and then we have contact. This is a phone number, and then email, it's molly@gmail.com. She's in the department of orthopedic. I know that's how you write them, but let's actually pick somebody that let's assume she's a staff, but she's actually in which department? Let's say in the department of neuro. Just say orthopedic department. I'm not sure that that's how you write orthopedic, but let's see, orthopedic. Not sure that's the spelling, but the key here is not actually the spelling. The key here is to learn how to do it, and that one should have come here. Ortho orthopedic. Okay, and the position here, she is see, she's a lecturer. What's happening here? Remove this. She is a lecturer. Okay, we go to the other one. Notice she has been numbered already. Number 1. The auto number will number them automatically. Here we have J, and this is 6301, and this is Joseph Laitola, admission, sorry, not admission number but ID number. And then we have the phone number. And then this is going to be Jose at yahoo.com, and Jose is in which department? In Visio. Therapy department. Jose is HOD in that department. Then let's have one more. We have Laura here, or we can say we have Lito. Chumba. Then you have the phone number. And this is Keep, sorry. This is Keep L. Is Kiplit at Gmail. And Lito is in which department? Lito is in the pharmacy department. And Lito is the deputy HOD in that department. And then we have, who else? We have Y, and this is Yego. This is Yego. Geoffrey. Yego ID number. And this is Yego phone number. So you notice is when you are working in the database, you have to pay close attention so that you enter the right thing. So this is Yego at yahoo.com, and Yego is in which department? Yego is in neurosurgeon, neurosurgical, if there's such a name, department, and Yego is a lecturer. Great. Then we have lecturer. Then we have let's do one more, then we'll be done. We have this gentleman called Roy. Roy Lamayan. Roy has phone number. And this is Lamaroy at gmail.com. Right, so what's the department? Let me see. Okay, is correct. Okay, Roy is in which department? Roy is in the department of clinical let's just make up a department. We're just making up orthopedic, with physiotherapy, with pharmacy department, with neurosurgical department. What other department can we come up with? Let's pick a department like great dental department, and then he is a lecturer. So that is how you create a table. So notice auto number, currently we have 5 employees. If we keep on adding, the auto number will automatically give us or count the number of employees that we have, and then you close. So remember, you can add as many tables as you want on this database. So if you want to add another table for something like, let's say you have a table called a medicine, and that's where you track all the medicine that you have. Or of course, this is a medical school, you do a lot of practical stuff, and so you want to track the medicines that you use for practice. Or maybe you want to track something like the number of vehicles that you have in your institution. You might need to have a table called vehicles, and then you enter the details about the vehicles. Maybe you want to track the number of chairs that you have in your institution. You might have a table called chairs, and then you're able to track each specific chair, whether it's wooden, whether it's metallic, whether it's an office chair, whether it's a sofa set, whether it's a foam, all kinds of chairs. You might need to create a table that has chairs, and then you're able to track all the chairs that you have. You might also want to track things like maybe beds. Okay, you want to track the number of beds that you have in your institution. Okay, so you want to create a table called beds, then you're able to track the number of beds that you have. So the table can hold anything that you want to track in your institution. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to pause this video lesson, and I want you to take time and I want you to practice how to create a table. If you hadn't opened a database, if you just watched and you were not doing it together with me, I want you to pause, get into your computer, open Microsoft Access, create a database. You can give it any name. You don't have to give it Kenya Medical Training College, but for the purposes of getting started, you can use Kenya Medical Training College, and then you just come up with the two tables that we have just created. Make sure you build the skills and the muscles to be able to do that. After that, when we come back, I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. When we come back, we are going to resume, and I'm going to show you how to work with forms. I've just shown you how to work with tables. Tables is the database, or rather the mother of any database. Every single data in a database is kept in a table. After that, the rest of the objects will come and they will be based on those tables. So do exactly what you've done. Create those two tables. You can even go ahead and add your own table, and you can call it vehicles or chairs or any other name that you want, okay? Or maybe casual staff, and then you come with that table that has the number of casual staff that you have. Anything that you want that's related to your institution, create that, practice that, and I'll see you in a few while, or rather after a while, and we're going to dive into the next thing, that is how to create a form.